Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Today I have Financial Prepper on with me, and we want to get into some current events, talking about the current state of the housing market. The housing market is a huge indicator when it comes to all financial markets. So just wanted to review this article and get Financial Prepper's feedback on it as well. This is posted on Zero Hedge. First time home buyers are absolutely screwed right now. Despite a recent softening of the U.S. housing market, a combination of rising borrowing costs and still high prices have put prospective first-time homebuyers in a serious bind. For the first time since records began, first-time homebuyers made up the smallest share of sales last year at 26%. And as we noted on Thursday, a surge in mortgage rates above 7% sent homebuyer applications to a 28-year low across all age groups. Now, as the spring home buying season approaches, tight inventory and uncomfortably high interest rates mean that the American dream can only be achieved by those with high-paying jobs, lots of money, or rich parents. The average rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage climbed for a fourth straight week, reaching 6.65. Freddie Mac data released Thursday show the difficulty for first-time buyers have been escalating for years. During the pandemic boom, they were frequently squeezed out as they competed against people with cash and investors who frequently targeted starter homes. The typical household income for first-time homebuyers soared as much as $90,000 in 22 from about $70,000 in 19.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I just that so much of our economy is based on expansion and debt based expansion. And when it comes to first time home buyers and this whole notion that your net the value of your home is somehow tied into your net worth is really kind of what's helped create this bubble. What's your take on all this, Chris? How do you think this is going to impact things?
Well, unemployment is really the bellwether to me on the housing issue. And according to the numbers, we don't have but 3.4% unemployment,
Right.
which is probably crap. And we're supposed to add 200,000 new jobs this year.
Sure,
This
sure.
month.
Yeah.
So, we're being lied to about the whole thing, but
Yeah.
the proof's in the pudding. You're starting to see it. We've been talking about a real estate crash for a while.
Yeah.
And I believed in it so much I sold my rental properties about 6 months ago or so, or maybe five. And it's as
Now,
interest rates start going up, we're going to really see some bad stuff, especially with people that have these arms.
what was your rationale behind selling your rental properties, Chris? You want to go over that with us?
Sure. So historically, when food prices hit 35 to 40% of a man's paycheck, they quit paying rent.
Hmm.
Now, a good man will feed his family before he pays rent. I'm just telling you, he's not going to let his kids go hungry. And we're seeing food prices go up every day. Every day, if you would have bought food back when, a couple years ago when I was starting to make videos, I was trying to encourage people, precious metals are great and that's good, but, you'll probably beat the stock market if you buy food now.
Right.
And that's been true to form. I mean, it doesn't do nothing
Yep.
but go up.
Yep.
Grains going up, and it's going to hurt the middle class really bad. It's every 1% they raise interest rates takes $50 billion out of the middle class,
Hmm.
straight out of their pocketbook.
And
That's
they've
who's going to suffer the worst.
that's always who they've wanted to pay the bill. That's always who they've wanted to bear the burden. That's always who they wanted to eliminate. They kowtow to they keep the impoverished poor by design as a means of control. And then if they eliminate the middle class, where you actually have financial freedom and the freedom to move around, if you eliminate that financial freedom, then you basically have no competition, and you can obviously redistribute all the wealth to yourself and then dole it out as needed to the impoverished masses, basically.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, back to why we sold our rental properties. There was that. There was the food, the inflation. There was the whole, hey, the government says your renters don't have to pay you, but you have to pay the bank or you're going to mess your credit up.
Right.
You know, there was that thing going on, which we didn't have any trouble. You know, we were all right. But there's a few things, and if I would have missed a few rents, that would have put me in the red. You know, I wasn't that good in them. You know, I didn't get to the opportunity to buy in 2009, 2010. I just wasn't investing then.
Sure.
But I do remember it. I remember grass in the yard, you know, whole neighborhoods that were beautiful neighborhoods.
All the foreclosure signs. Yep.
Oh, man, it was a lot of people. Builders starts are already down now, you know, big time. I went to the bank yesterday, day before yesterday, and I talked to the bank manager, had a few minutes. They were doing some paperwork for us. And I said, how's your business? She's like, it's way down. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, it's really down. I was like, so your mortgages and your loans are way down. She said, yes. So how? She said, it's probably about half. That'd be a pretty good guess.
Man, that's incredible.
It is. And that's a really good bellwether. Your regional banks, your banks around you you know, if it's happening here, it's happening somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like to refer to it on my channel as the Thunderdome. I really think we're entering the Thunderdome. I think we're in the descent, but we're going to see some strange, man, it's going to be volatile. I think you're a good guy to talk to about that.
Well, you know, one thing, the first time home buyers being directly impacted, then you're going to have housing starts, you know, you're going to have a glut of inventory because of affordability. Then it's going to also affect the custom builders and the builders. So it's going to dramatically impact on that end. So the reason it's such a powerful indicator is because it's showing, one, who has the ability to buy, and then it's also affecting those that are building simultaneously. So that's affecting their production. And then that in turn, as that slows down, that slows down all the lumber and the home building supplies, the Home Depots and the Lowe's, and it's a huge trickle down. And it happens in a very rapid fashion because we were in the market in 08 and 09, and we had a couple rentals, and then we actually had the opportunity to purchase a couple foreclosures in that whole thing, and made out really well. And the problem that I'm seeing with everybody that's comparing everything even to the last downturn, which was substantial and significant, is that
you're talking about
all the
GFC, or you talking about Corona?
I'm just talking about like in 2008 with the mortgage-backed security crisis. So many of the other quote unquote fundamentals have been destroyed. So this time I think the crash is going to be exponentially worse because, it's the same thing. They're starting it right now with zero. They're doing loans right now with zero down, zero equity. It's for minorities. And it's just, we saw that prior to the 08 crash.
Ninja loans. Fog a mirror, you get a loan.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, man. And we're watching
lending.
We're watching the crazy spread. It is the Thunderdome. It's Mad Max. It is just Wild West. Yeah, it's crazy.
So, in 2008, in my opinion, they kind of opened Pandora's box. They created a way to create money out of thin air. We really went into MMT, modern monetary theory, right? And that's really, and when that happened, we can print as much money as we want. Started.
Sure.
That was only like $900 billion, by the way. It was tiny compared to what we experienced last time. They were approaching $1 trillion a month last time they printed money.
Sure. Yeah, with the quantitative easing. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking. There's a couple ways this could go. Real estate crashes, interest rates are going up. These new time home buyers, I feel so sorry for them. I mean, for one thing, when I started buying my house, jobs paid better. There were better jobs.
Right.
And now you've got those higher interest rates, and that's going to be a pretty big, just a gut punch in itself to the market. And, and that goes going back to me selling my rental properties. They were expensive. You know, it's like, hey,
Right.
those went way up. Seems like a good time to sell when things go up, you know?
Yeah.
So, and, you know, it's a sad situation for first time home buyers. It really is. I
Well,
feel,
the other thing we have is we have this overinflated real estate market that is it's from people relocating and people moving around. It's from this gigantic glut of cash that keeps getting infused in and stacked up. It's got to go somewhere. So people are putting it in hard assets and different things. And then lastly, you have all your Black Rocks. You have all your big venture capital, like multinational venture capital companies that are buying residential real estate. I mean, and this is kind of like an uncommon trend that is like a newer trend just in like the last 5 to 8 years, and that is dramatically skyrocketing. And they get the leverage and the opportunity of taking these different bailouts and the TARP, and then PPP and all this stuff, and they accumulate this glut of cash, and then they don't care if they spend $300,000 for $100,000 house, because in a very real way, the majority of the funds that they have come from absolutely nothing. So they're perfectly fine with overspending because it didn't cost them anything to get it anyway.
that's my biggest fear, that the left arm of the government, being BlackRock, starts
Mm-hmm.
buying up our land and property with funny money that they printed out of nothing, which it's all funny money, you know,
Sure.
it's fake paper. But that would be very unfortunate. That would truly be some kind of real Thunderdome stuff. I hope that doesn't happen, but that's probably what they want, you know? Uh,
That's my speculation. Is I'm thinking they want the crash to do the snatch and grab deal. But I mean, I hope that's not the case. I would everybody, because then at least we get to participate in a correction and maybe get to grab some, deals on the back end. Because I mean, that's the way markets are supposed to work. Markets are supposed to expand and contract, and if you properly manage yourself on the upside, you can pick up on the downside. When a correction takes place. That's the way it used to be, anyway.
yeah, well, yeah, that's what it used to be. And if they don't bail them out, you know, which you're not supposed to do that when we're doing all this tightening, right?
Yeah.
You can't raise interest rates and print money at the same time, can you?
Right. Right.
So if it doesn't go that way, that means BlackRock is going to go belly up. I do think that's going to happen. If you know, you can't outguess the Fed. You know, I've been wrong for a long time.
Yeah.
They've pushed the can way down the road further than I thought they could.
Me too.
But
Yeah.
we might actually see BlackRock fail. Can that sounds crazy, doesn't it?
Well, so okay, so I was kind of like in on the whole. Remember Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns, and that was all supposedly mortgage-backed security stuff, right? And now Lehman and Bears, they were both largely bond portfolios, and I actually had a client in a had a check writing money market, had $600,000 in a check writing money market, and they froze that money market. And they said, "Oh, you were, in your money market account, you were exposed to Lehman paper." Now, and I've read some different things. Basically, Lehman played ball. I forget which one got thrown under the bus, but one played ball and the other one got liquidated. I always confuse Lehman and Bear Stearns, but that's
Yeah,
what happened back then. And it makes you want the only way I see like a BlackRock going belly up is if they're refusing to play the game. You know what I mean? Because if you play the game, all of a sudden you find these assets somewhere. You're like, oh, this is amazing. Oh, I just found $3 trillion over here. Problem solved.
right. Yeah. Well, just the other day, Blackstone, not to be confused with BlackRock, they were once the same, and then they split, and now they're only like a block apart in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
Blackstone covers the private sector, not the retail side, and institutional investors. Sorry.
Yep. Okay. Gotcha. Yep. Yep.
They cover the institutional investor side. People's, I forget how much of uh, retirement funds and all that was involved with them. But they, not too long ago, a month or maybe 3 months ago, they were selling some casinos in Las Vegas at a loss, a big
Really?
loss.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and they told their clients that they couldn't pull out their money. If you're part of the institutional side, you don't have that. You can't just go sell real quick. The REITs is what they're into.
Yep. Real estate investment trust. Yeah.
And so they're already halting funds, and so I
And you're
don't know.
liquidating casinos because they're the absolutely tip of the spear when it comes to people tightening discretionary spending. Obviously, they're going to stop. Hopefully, they're going to stop gambling unless they're trying to. That's their strategy to pay their mortgage or whatever. But yeah, we really. I see this as a very dire indicator of what is coming. You said that you thought it would have happened long before, and I thought it would have happened by, say, 2010 to 2012. So all I think that means is that it is inevitable, and I believe the ultimate end game for when they finally let the shoe drop, because it appears that they can artificially suspend it, is what it appears right now, is this central bank digital currency. So I'm thinking they're going to let it drop so that way they can kind of force that judo flip everybody into digital currency. That's my opinion on that.
That'll probably be one of them. I believe that. The other thing will be bank failures. We'll do a video on that in a
Yep.
minute.
Okay.
But that's another. Yeah, everything is pushing you that way. Everything
Yeah.
that's happening, you could come up with, your bank failed. Well, that wouldn't happen if you had a CBDC.
Right. Exactly.
You
Yep.
want your stimmy check, you better have your CBDC. Get
Yep.
your wallet. We'll give you. They'll be handing out stimmies to and people run to it like pigs to slop. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's exactly how they did it in China. They were like, "Oh, well, hey, get your digital wallet, and we're going to randomly deposit 1 million won into somebody's wallet this week." So everybody goes out and gets it because I'm going to be a millionaire.
well, they could do a UBI, universal basic income, just like that. They say, hey, just sign
Yep.
up and you'll get your $50 a month, whatever, to help you along because of this hard times we're going through.
Yep.
Sign up and we'll just put it on your phone. It's too much trouble to do other things,
And they already
go to
test
the
drove
bank.
that. Yeah, they test drove that with the pandemic. They just, we had this conservative, great, awesome conservative president, and then he just spins around and says, "Oh, we're going to direct deposit money in your bank account." Like, wow, really? We're doing that now? Like, I didn't think that we did that kind of stuff. And then, they just started mailing people checks.
Well, you won't have to mail it anymore.
Right.
They'll be able
Well,
to send it
yeah,
like
you
this.
won't get it.
Push a button. Boop. Yeah, and you
Yep.
won't get it.
And they'll turn. Oh, wait a minute. You said the wrong thing. We're going to turn it back off now. No, now you can't access it. Yeah. Flip
That's
of
right.
the switch, you have it, and a flip of the switch, you don't have it.
So I'd like to give some advice to somebody that's looking for a property right now. I know there's a lot of people, people need
Okay,
to live
great.
somewhere, right?
Yep, that's right.
And it's easy to jump in here and say, yeah, it's all going down. This is awful. But some people have to buy it. And I would recommend, as bad as I hate to, and this isn't financial advice, it's just what I would do. I would rent. I would
Yep.
rent and pick up some deals. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't buy the house of my dreams right now. I'm looking to build one for myself on my land, but I'm just going to wait. I've got, we're looking at the biggest real estate crash in my lifetime, I think.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I mean, statistically, I think we're going to look at the biggest real estate crash in the living world's lifetime. I honestly think that that's going to happen. And, we encourage people all the time, move, get out of the cities, get out of the flashpoints, move into a more of a rural area. Right. And that's always my first, a lot of these paradigms, well, don't pay rent because you're wasting money when you could be accruing equity. Well, it depends on your carrying costs and different things. And in my opinion, it's it's relative to if you get a cheap rent. You can overcome that whole carrying cost if you get the right rental deal as well. But if you're renting right now, you're not locked in, and you have mobility, and you can grasp and go after the deal when it presents itself. And that's even if you have to break your lease. You know what I mean? If it's a great deal and it's the right buy, you could even afford to break your lease to go get the right deal. And you're not stuck with like, this has to be the right thing, and it's just
at the wrong time.
Correct.
Don't just fall in love with the house. Fall in love with the deal.
With the deal, that's right. Yeah,
that's really important. And there's another, and this is really, in my opinion, the ultimate plan B. The ultimate bug out situation is a camper.
Mm-hmm.
If you're hurting for a place to live and you don't want to buy these high, prices, you can live in a pretty nice camper. And I think there's going to be some on sale pretty soon.
Yeah, there are.
Mine's getting worked on right now, and hopefully I'm going to get rid of it. It had some water damage. They might total it. I don't know. I'm going to wait, and then I'm going to buy a camper because people are going to start. They already are. They're starting to lose that stuff.
Yep, they're going to liquidate or get repossessed. Yeah, that's right.
And you don't get to choose what you get liquidated on. You don't get to choose what you get to keep when you're out of money. That's what really blows my mind, because I hadn't really had to do that. Maybe a little bit, but I've seen people really have to get rid of some of their prized possessions because that's all they had. Yeah. And campers, just to me, aren't a prized possession. I think that's going to be one of the first frivolous things they could cut. So you could hook up to that thing, pull it close to where you want to be, and look for a house out of the camper. I did that when I first started my welding business. I went to the work, and then we would drive around and look for a nice place. And I finally found one. That is great
advice. Yeah.
Yeah. So that could really, really help somebody. I just don't want to see anybody buy at the top of the market. And
nope.
And even though it is coming down now, so we're starting to see some buying opportunities. And if this stuff keeps going on, which I'm pretty sure it will, Jerome Powell just came out and said he was rambling about raising some more interest rates, and they've been doing pretty good about telling us the truth lately.
Yeah.
So you might, that really might work out. That's what I would do if I was actively looking for a house.
Another point is going to crush. If mortgage rates go up into the 8s, it's going to be unbelievable. It is going to be, you're going to see, $300,000 and $400,000 homes drop like half, because when you're up in the 8s on a 3 or a 4, especially if they're doing these crazy like 1% down or nothing down or 5% down, these are gigantic payments. And then when you roll in the property taxes and the mortgage insurance, man, these payments are going to be $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, and it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Well, I think we're going to see in the teens. I think we're going to see interest rates in the teens.
Wow.
There's two ways that could go, I guess. They could do like they're supposed to do and stop inflation, and take the medicine, to go through the hangover. They got to get off the drunk and go through the hangover.
Yeah.
That might not be very likely. I just don't see. It's going to really hurt this time.
Yeah, it is.
So the other thing they could do is say, hey, all of a sudden just come out and say, we hit our inflation point. CPI is down to 2%, and they could cherry pick the basket of goods just like they've done since 1980s. Yep. Go to John Williams Shadow Stats. It'll show you exactly what the inflation is right now. It's about 15%.
Man, that's incredible.
It's double what they say.
Yeah.
But they very well could come out and just lie like that was nothing.
They do.
They'd lie when the truth would do better.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another thing. They can say, hey, we come out, everything's good. Turn the money printer on. Let's save this economy and do the right thing. People are hurting. The middle class is hurting, and we got to give them money. And, and here we go. And that's when gold and silver goes to the moon, and all bets are off of everything, because real estate, I mean, real
Yeah,
estate, they could do a 40-year mortgage and make real estate go to the
they
stratosphere.
could. Yeah, yeah, they could. And that's another tool in the tool belt that they may or may not whip out to try to help the housing market. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Time will
But
tell.
man,
Yeah.
Chris, I really appreciate all the tips, and it's a lot of words of wisdom, and it resonates well with what we've said on our channel and a lot of what we put in practice. And I appreciate your time. I thank you for coming on, and looking forward to more of these interviews in the future, man.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Jim. And guys, it was so good to be here. I'm sure we'll be
You want to
back.
tell them, Chris, a little bit about your channel and what you cover over there?
Sure. My channel's called Financial Prepper, as you can see. And we, guys, we're just prepping for what's coming. I mean, and you don't know what's coming. That's the thing.
Right.
It might not be doomsday, not yet,
Right.
but if you suffered a train wreck in Ohio and you had to evacuate your house and you had some of the things we talk about, camper, throw some food in, take all your precious metals and guns or whatever, throw it in there and travel to a safe spot. That's the kind of stuff we talk about. It's really about being prepared, and we cover a lot of financial news because I'm in the camp that it's really hard to help anybody if you're part of the problem. And if you don't have any money, you're going to be part of the problem,
That's
and,
right.
and money's not everything. We don't love it. It's just, it's really
It's a
hard to help
tool.
people without it.
Yeah, that's right.
We're trying to pay attention to banks and what they're doing. And my wife's a real estate agent. She's a broker for Miles Franklin Precious Metals. And we're kind of right in the middle and just trying to pay attention and get that out to the audience. And it's been a real blessing. I tell you the truth about the channel. Probably the best thing about it is the community, the people in the comments. It is salt of the earth, the best people. I mean, just they're wise, they're smart, they're there to help. They're creating ties with each other. Hey, I live here too. Hey, you're my neighbor. And I love to make a video and then somebody in Canada meet somebody else that was like-minded, like me and you.
Yeah,
We've seen each other on YouTube. The first time we talked, it's like we were long lost buddies.
that's right. Yeah. And
So
it's funny
that's
because I met one of my subscribers in real life in real time, and I was asking him about silver, and he said, "Hey, you should check out Financial Prepper." And that's actually how I found out about your channel, was from one of my subscribers that I was talking to face, and it's just cool. It's neat. It's a great community, and it's
yeah,
been awesome getting to sync up.
I agree, man. Well, thank you for having me on, Jim.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Later.
See you on the next video.
Absolutely.